wouldn't call it problem, I call it opportunity, right? Because it's an opportunity for you to fix something or develop someone that essentially is not getting what they need, right? So, like I said, opportunities everywhere. And, people come and say, I have a problem. Well, one of the things that I like to tell my team is like, instead of saying you have a problem, say, I have an opportunity, right?
Access granted.
Digital rich, digital rich, digital digital rich, digital rich, digital. We made it rich on the internet. Stop capping. What you mean? We made it rich on the internet. Stop capping. What you mean? We made it rich on the internet. What you mean? We made it rich on the internet. Whoa, they didn't wanna know how I popped out. I'm schooling all of you, but I dropped out. I leave a legacy, I'm making pops proud. And now I got the keys kicking locked up. You wanna run and set it up? I'ma let you all know that I ain't regular. Peak game, got that pressure, know you not enough. Keep score, cause you know that I'ma run it up, run it up. I'ma run it back, no biggie. No respect, don't take that, no ditty. Too smooth, but I'm feeling so pretty. I'm loving around the world, still rep my city. I'm making waves on the internet. You think that you better, you say that you coming for me. Tell me why you ain't did it yet. Yeah, here's a little secret that we both know. That I'm bringing funds in by the boatload. And I got this whole game in a chokehold. So I had to double down, cause it's so. Alright, I'm winning again. I might just need an advance. No, they do not stand a chance. My name ringing bells on the internet. I am not finished yet. This is all part of the plan.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to the $1 Million Blueprint Podcast. And I'm on a mission to chase down all the millionaires in the world and ask them one thing: show me the money. And of course, I am honored to have the very, very important VVIP, maybe triple VIP, quadruple VIP, I don't know. Fighting out of South Carolina, United States of America. Big welcome, Majeed, the $1 Million Tito Box. How are you, Majeed?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Well, I'm good. I'm good. I guess that for a minute you thought you were probably Tito Ortiz,
Yeah, you getting people pumped this morning, huh? That intro, man, I'm telling you, I feel like I'm stepping into the octagon right now.
Okay, who are you gonna fight, brother? Who are you gonna fight?
We're fighting the world together, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes. That's the thing, entrepreneurship is a fight. It's a fight pretty much. If you know, say
Yeah.
less. Well, and of course, I've actually done my assignment like I always do, to give you your flowers. So sit back, relax, and of course, let me take the intro. Today on the $1 Million Blueprint Podcast, we are joined by a man whose story embodies discipline, determination, and purpose. From serving as a sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps to leading large-scale programs at a global tech company, Majeed Baksh has mastered the art of transforming structure into success. He's not just a corporate leader, he's a builder of systems, people, and mindsets. His story proves that the journey to the first million isn't about luck, it's about leadership, consistency, and clarity of vision. Majeed, it's an honor to welcome you as our first guest on the $1 Million Blueprint Podcast. Let's unpack the mindset, skill set, and tool set behind your journey.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure not only being here, but being the first one, right? Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you.
First never follows. But how do you feel being interviewed by AI, the human AI?
The human AI, but, it feels good. It feels good talking to like-minded individuals, and it's especially yourself, right? Like your journey has spoken volumes to me. Just us talking these past couple of days, and kind of really wanting to do this together. But yeah, it feels good. I think you got some good questions for me coming, and hopefully we'll have some good conversations. So people could get motivated, just like your intro. I feel like, that's
At the
been
top.
conversation now. We got to top that. So I feel good.
Whoa. So let me let the cat out of the bag, actually. So something a lot of people probably don't know about you and me is the fact that we are both members of the School of Mentors community. And shout out to the School of Mentors. It's a really, really fantastic community, positive minded individuals, growth mindset, people driving just positive growth, all round growth, and it's a really fantastic space to be in. So if you're not signed up, but you should sign up. I think I have my link in the description. And just to set the tone for this podcast, every interview explores three core pillars, and those are the core pillars that define what successful people have built. And it's mindset, skill set, and tool set. And interestingly, that is a framework that I learned in the School of Mentors, mastermind session. Mindset, skill set, and tool set. It's very difficult teaching mindset. Like mindset, I don't know how to teach mindset, even though like my very first podcast is about growth mindset, leadership, AI, uh, and business insights. Mindset is a thing that I don't know, would I say is like a factory default setting with individuals? But yeah, there are ways to grow your mindset, but it has to be like a conscious effort. And there's this guy from the School of Mentors community, Roy. He said, when you bring in people on your team, you need to first evaluate their mindset before you evaluate the skill set and then the tool set. And I discovered that's what all successful entrepreneurs have actually done, evaluating the mindset of the individuals. Sometimes I see people on certain big teams, world killer teams, and I'm like, okay, this person is not, as skilled or does not have the credentials to, be in that particular kind of position. But go check out the mindset. And it comes back to my very favorite Bible verse, Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So, like exploring, the beliefs, the discipline, and of course, the purpose behind your first million, right? How did your time, in the military shape your mindset that you carry today into business and, of course, leadership?
Yeah. So, I mean, military is definitely something that sharpened a lot of skills that I was born with already, right? Like we're all born with specific skills. It's just we have to find what those gifts and skills are. But, you know, at 17 years old going into the military, I was a kid. It gave me a lot of discipline, a lot of consistency, attention to detail, things that I all use in today's day and age, right? Like things that I use in the things that I do and the people that I'm looking at, and I'm looking at their mindset, right? I'm looking at their skills, and I'm saying, I want someone that's going to do it at the same level, if not higher than me, because if they're not at that level, I have to bring them to that level, which is fine. That's okay as well, right? But they also have to be willing, and they have to have the mindset to want to learn and get to that level, right? And have that discipline and have that consistency, right? Mindset's something that's very hard to break because, as we're growing up, our parents kind of develop our mindset for us as children. So you grow up with a standard that is not even yours, right? Like, so going to the military helped me kind of break that a little bit. Things aren't done the way, that essentially you have to do them. Like there's many different options you can explore to do one thing. You don't have to do the one thing that you've been kind of almost programmed, right, to do it that way. right? Like, I'll give you an example, right? People, when they eat cereal, you know, when they eat cereal, and me and my wife, we laugh about this and we argue about this all the time. It's funny. I pour my milk before I pour my cereal, right? Some people pour their cereal before they pour their milk. Who's right and who's wrong?
There's no right answer, and of course, there's no wrong answer. Where I come from, Nigeria, shout out to my people. They say, meaning one road does not lead to the market, multiple roads lead to the market.
Right. And it doesn't matter. The reason I say it, right? It doesn't matter the way you do it. You're accomplishing the same goal. So
Mhm.
having the mindset that, hey, I can have different avenues to complete this goal will make you more successful in life because it allows you and it's programming you to have that problem solving skills to say, hey, just because this one avenue did not work, that doesn't mean that there's five more that I can try. So it kind of breaks the mold a little bit and it allows you to like start thinking. And then when you start thinking like that, that completely changes your mindset about everything else because then you go into every single problem, every single situation, the same. Like, hey, there's multiple ways I can get to the outcome that I'm looking at. I just have to be creative and strategic
Mhm.
and really think about it, right? And then there's no wrong answer, So
Absolutely.
the military really, when it came to a mindset, it's just the one thing I think that I hold near and dear to is holding everyone to a higher caliber than what they hold themselves to, right? Because a lot of people don't hold themselves to a higher caliber because they make excuses. You know, I'm lazy. I want to watch Netflix. I want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to work too hard. I don't want to, I want to be in shape, but I don't want to work out. Like you got to hold those people accountable to the things that they're putting in their mind to that's doubting themselves, and then they're just making excuses at that point, right? Well, I'm not going to do this because, I'm not going to run today because my ankle hurts when it doesn't really hurt. It's maybe you just slept wrong on it or, you twisted it a little bit. But if you ran, you would feel better. Or if you stretched it out, you would feel better. But you want to use the excuse to not do it. Right. So it's just holding people to the higher caliber and to the potential that I see in them, because when I see potential in someone, even as an entrepreneur or, in the military, like if I see potential in you, I want you to see that potential.
Mhm.
But the problem is a lot of people look in the mirror and they see everything that they doubt about themselves versus seeing the things that are great about them.
I love that. I am a very big believer in potential over credentials. Yeah, but if you don't work on those potentials, it will never yield credentials. And I like to say something that when you're younger, people judge you based off your potentials. When you're older, people judge you based off your credentials. You don't want to grow older and look back and discover that you did not turn those potentials into credentials. It's crazy. Something you touched on watching Netflix. That's something I find quite a lot of people on. And I've noticed something. The people who watch Netflix the least are the ones who pay for the subscriptions. Like I have a premium subscription, but I hardly ever watch Netflix.
And don't get me wrong, like, a lot of times I doubt myself, right? Like we all have doubts. None of us are perfect. Anybody
Definitely.
that you have a conversation with and they're just telling you the good, the good, the good, the good. Like, listen, they're off to the side doubting themselves. They're off to the side watching Netflix every once in a while. You know, it happens. It happens. You just have to put yourself in check and kind of just, hey, let's realign here. Like, and I know what I'm here to do and I'm going to do it. And, taking small steps, a lot of people just an entrepreneur too, and the military taught me this well, is again, an attention to detail, right? I can only pay attention to detail by taking small steps. If I take small steps, I'm more focused on the small step and what I need to do that small
Mhm.
step, right? Versus taking leaps and bounds, right? And now I have so much other stuff that I need to pay attention to detail to, that the chances of me missing something are very high versus taking that small little step, right? And
Micro goals.
right, and people they want this success so quickly, and it naturally doesn't happen that way, right? What the way it happens is you take a small step, and you know, the biggest thing that I see time and time again, someone gets an idea, they sit on that idea, right? The biggest skill that I learned in the military was minimizing the time between idea and execution. Because if I minimize the time between idea and execution, I don't waste any time. If I sit here and just thinking about an idea that I have and then I implement it for 3 months from now, I just wasted 3 months because I don't know if the idea worked or not. Versus me having an idea, executing it right now and saying, okay, that worked, that didn't work.
Mm.
And if it
It just
worked,
reminds me of something that I always say. In life, we have three resources: time, money, and effort.
and that skill alone will, make you very successful in anything you do.
Mm.
Because if you have an idea and you execute it quickly, you're going to know right away. You're not wasting time. And for the younger generation too, if anybody in their 20s, you know, go fail. If I was 20 right now, I literally any and every idea I had in my brain, I would go do, because if I failed, it would be okay because that's a lesson that I'm learning, right? Failure is not, oh, you failed, that's it, it's over. It's a lesson. You learn something, and taking that lesson and making it better is essentially what you should be doing.
Like society actually judges people for failing, and that puts like a lot of pressure on young people. I come from Africa, for example, and people are held to very high standards, and you failing at anything feels like, oh, you're a disappointment. But sometimes you need to break away from the norm. And for a person like myself, I think I had a very, very early introduction to the concept of failure. Some people call the O level, the exams you write before going into university. I was always a very bright student, or I had issues with mathematics. I failed mathematics twice before getting it right the third time. And guess what? That boy who failed mathematics later became an economist, a chartered accountant. At some point, I lectured, financial reporting, financial accounting, corporate reporting. These are numbers. Ended up, getting into the big four, making it into mid management level, right? Data rules everything that I do today. But back to my favorite scripture, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I had to dig deep into my faith, and like, this thing doesn't own you. You can do it if you put your mind to it. But I discovered that a lot of people, a lot of young people don't have that privilege of having an early introduction to the concept of failure. So how do you help these people with facing failure and knowing that if you don't get it right the first time, you can always try and try again as long as you put your mind to it?
Well, for me, failure in the military is like, it's not something that you want to happen, right? Because we're in situations sometimes where we can't fail, right? And then that's where your mindset comes in. We're not going to fail. We're going to do whatever we have to do to not fail, right? But then taking that into the civilian life, right, is, it's okay to fail because the severity of the situation is not what it is in the military,
Mhm.
right? And teaching people that it's okay to fail and not making them feel bad or insecure right, for failing or making them feel like a disappointment, that is a leadership skill, right? Because again, taking failure as opportunity for growth, you know? AI, you come to me, you failed at something. I'm not going to say you're a failure. I don't ever want you to do this X, Y, and Z again, right? Because as a leader, what am I doing? I'm just beating you down. That's not the goal. The goal is to bring people up. Hey, I know you fail. It's all right. We're here. What happened? All right, X, Y, and Z happened. Okay, what can we do next time to make sure X, Y, and Z doesn't happen? Or is there even something that we can do for it not to happen? Right? Like, do you have any ideas? Right now, that conversation changes, right? From like, hey, I failed, but now I'm so pumped to figure out what I failed at, how I failed at it, what I can do to make it better, what I can do so maybe it doesn't happen next time. What things can I put in place? It allows your mind to be creative
Hmm.
versus just saying, hey, you failed at this. You suck. You can't do it no more.
Even the real AI fails, right?
Everyone
ChatGPT,
fails, man.
you give it a
Everyone.
prompt and then it gives you
Everyone.
BS, and then you have to
Listen,
ask it, okay, rerun that iteration. So like
listen,
if AI can fail, who are you
you
not
can
to fail?
fail 100 times, but as long as you
Hmm.
get it right one time, you got it right.
Yeah, that's what matters.
That's what matters. But in society, we're so focused on the wrong, right? We're focused on they did this wrong, or this was wrong, or their attitude wrong because of this, or and it's just why do we have to focus on the wrong? I get it. It's a lesson. We failed. It's a lesson we're gonna learn. But the amount of energy that we put as a society or people or even self-doubt on how many times we got it wrong versus the amount of energy that we put in when we get it right, it's it's way different, right? Like we're we're so hard on ourselves and so hard on other individuals that when they do get something right, we're not giving them the praise. We're not
Mhm.
we're not supporting them in their success, right? And it's very hard sometimes for people just to look in the mirror and say, "Hey, I got it wrong, but it's okay." Right? Like it's okay. And they don't give some people don't give themselves the grace to say, "Hey, it's okay."
I feel like, there are five love languages, and it seems like words of affirmation is like the least of most people's profile.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, I think that giving yourself some grace and failing is okay. A true leader, like someone that's going to lead you in the direction that you want to go in and someone that you're going to fight for is not going to drill down the failure and in a negative way. They're going to drill it down in a positive way. Hey, it's
Mm.
okay. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Right? And it's different from a military aspect than a civilian aspect. In a military aspect, we can't fail, you know? There have been times where I've been on deployments and we've been in, situations that we couldn't fail. Because if I failed, that means I failed you, I failed your parents, I failed your family, I failed whoever, you know what I mean? And we have to have each other's back and make sure that, hey, we're in a situation we can't fail and we're all going to give 100% because we're all going to come home. But then when that switch flips to the civilian side, it's like you look at the two different situations and I'm like, I was in a much more serious thing if I failed, right? If I failed, it meant someone's life.
Mhm.
But where now, if I fail, it means we just figure it out. Those are two different situations, but it makes me look at it different to say, hey, there is no problem that I'm going to have or that's going to be brought to me that can't be solved and can't be handled versus if we fail, I'm gonna have to live with regret of losing someone.
Two different extremes,
Two
right? And
different extremes, man.
I
2.
feel like it's sort of like a training, right? If you've been in that extreme where you cannot afford to fail and you did not fail, like it sort of gives you some confidence going forward in life that we've been there, done that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd love for you to speak to that because for me personally, I've not been in the military, but I've been in situations wherein like I couldn't afford to fail and I did not fail. And it just gives you that confidence going forward. Like if I've
Yeah.
been in this extreme,
No.
the other challenges are like biscuits.
Yeah, and I mean, and in a way to do that, right? I think people today, they put these goals that they have in life, whether it be, I wanna be in shape, I wanna be financially secure, I wanna read 10 books in a month, like, whatever it is, they take these goals and they essentially make the goal so big, again, leaps and bounds versus small steps, right? That they don't set themselves up for success. They set themselves up for failure. And then when that failure happens, they doubt what they're doing and then they don't do it anymore, right? Versus, hey, if I'm really passionate about fitness and I want to get in shape, get up at 4 o'clock every morning. That's my goal. I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock every morning. My goal is not going to the gym, right? Small steps. I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock every morning. I'm just going to get up and start my day. A week goes by. You got up at 4 o'clock every morning, every day, every day, every day, every day, right? Next week, now I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to drive to the gym, right? And I do that for a week, small steps. And then eventually you're going to be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, driving to the gym, working out, getting your day started, and doing this. But instead, what happens? I'm gonna get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the alarm goes off, you hit snooze. You know what I mean?
Snooze.
And the second you hit snooze, you automatically told yourself it's okay to not wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Majid, let me put this on a lighter note. How about people who don't even hit snooze? I know
Oh,
two friends, top of my
trust
head
me.
right now.
Oh, I can think of I
They
can
set
think of
alarms, right? But it's like they're setting the alarm for the person that is going to wake them up.
Yep, 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 yep. Nope.
How
Uh
about that?
and they don't get up, yeah, so I mean, in life, you know if you tell yourself you're going to do something, you should do it. And again, there's times where I tell myself I'm going to do something and I don't do it, but then I go back and I replay it in my head and I'm like, why'd I do that? Right? Like, why did I do that to myself? Like, I want to improve myself, and that's not improving myself. That's just putting more self-doubt into me. That's just telling myself that it's okay to be average, and I don't wanna be average.
Never. There's an enemy called average. And of course, speaking about average, it's a function of mindset. But what is that mindset shift that helped you, to go from structure and service to strategy and scaling?
Well, being in the service, having that mindset of figuring it out because there is no option of failure really helped me in the civilian aspect of things, right? It really helped me going and working for a huge tech company and just having that problem solving skills because, with huge companies like that, innovation's always going on and
Innovation.
it's going fast. You have to be fast. You can't
Iteration of
you can't be slow, right? So having those problem solving skills of when things happen, and it's funny, my first couple of years with the company, I would sit there and they would come with a problem and people would be like, let's have a meeting about it. And I would look around confused, like, hey, this is easy. We could just do this. And people would look at me with like 3 eyes. I felt like I was an alien, because I'm coming up with solutions like this, you know? And again, it's just an idea in my head that, "Hey, we should implement this and see what happens." And most of the times it works. Most of the time, if it doesn't work, then it's okay, you know? But at the end of the day,
Another way.
it works. And I just I think that people don't utilize that skill and they don't see that skill. That's a skill that, very few people have in the civilian life. But I think in the military aspect, in the realm of being in the military, whatever branch you're in, it's a skill that you automatically develop. It's like drilled into you, right? Because there are certain situations, again, where you need those problem solving skills to make sure things are going to work correctly. And then when you take it and you go and work for a company, uh, having those problem solving skills, having that discipline, having the consistency, wanting to improve, right, on things, uh, all of that makes you shine so much brighter than someone that went to college that doesn't have that life experience, right?
Hmm.
Doesn't essentially have the life experience. They may have the knowledge and the academics, but they don't have the life experience to kind of transcend them to where they need to be versus someone that has the life experience that may not have that much of the knowledge of it, but with the life experience, knowledge comes, right? Like having life experience in my book is bigger than academics or having the knowledge to do something because you've been through it, right? You understand the directions you need to take in certain situations.
I'm just going to summarize this. Education without implementation is confusion.
1000%.
And, like you've actually touched on this a lot in our conversation: fear, risk, self doubt. So, like, how do you manage the fear, the risk, the self doubt, that imposter syndrome, especially when chasing big goals?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say, my childhood was, I wasn't wealthy, I wasn't rich, I wasn't even middle class. I was very, very poor. And it's no fault of my parents at all. They were barely making it, as most people are today, barely making it, right? They're just trying to survive. The thing that I really had to break, and I would take it back to mindset, is the mindset that I still live like that, right? Like that I have to live like that because I don't have to live or choose to be like that. There's so much opportunity in the world that you can capture. You just have to be okay with yourself and confident enough to go and capture it, right? Go and have that conversation. If you see someone out at a coffee shop and they're having a discussion about finances and you want to learn about finances, right? Have the courage to go up and say, "Hey, my name's Majeed. How are you doing? I overheard your conversation. Sorry for being nosy, but I heard you were talking about finances. I'm very interested in learning about finances and I want to change, my trajectory in my life. Would you be interested in having coffee with me here tomorrow so we can discuss it?" Right? Having the courage to do that, right, can change your life.
Absolutely.
But people are so afraid and so in their box, right? Where they're the first thought, "I don't know them. Like, I'm being nosy. Let me stop being nosy. Let me stop listening to their conversation. I'm not gonna go up to them. I'm a stranger to them. They're gonna look at me like I'm crazy." But you don't know that unless you try, right? Unless you try, and they can say no. But if that's the worst thing that happens, who cares? The best thing, and again, going back, we always think about the worst, right? We think about, "Oh, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do this." But what we're not thinking about is they're gonna say yes. They're gonna be my mentor. They're gonna talk to me about finances. My life trajectory in a year is gonna be completely different than what it is now.
Let's give the audience a live example, right? What you're saying is very, very practical between you and me, right? The courage to speak to somebody you don't know, like, is glaring between you and me. We met in the community. I had the courage to speak to you. And of course, with that conversation, we have a podcast. And of course, we have a brand new podcast out of just speaking to somebody, you don't know. You must always have that courage to speak up, reach
Yeah.
out. The worst answer is a no.
Listen, the
But
word
then think about what is going to happen with these new podcasts, like the new trajectory, right? The new network, the possibilities, the endless
they're
possibilities we are going to
endless.
create,
They're endless,
the
right?
impact we're going to make on people's lives.
A no is a no. You know that it ended there, right? But if you don't do it, you never know if there was anything else. So why not have that conversation? Listen, I can talk for hours. We're probably going to be on this podcast for hours, but I talk to everybody because there's opportunities all around us, and we have to start looking for opportunities because they're all right in front of our face. And unless you start using that lens and change your mindset of, I'm not going to talk to this person because they don't know who I am. Who cares if they don't know? You know what? Great. I'm going to make sure they know who I am. That's the attitude and that's the mindset you should have is, hey, listen, I don't care. I want to talk to them. They're talking about something I'm interested in. I'm going to talk to them. If it doesn't work out, so be it. But at least I know I tried and I'm not living with a little bit of regret or, man, I remember I was at that coffee shop and they were talking about it and they looked so successful and they knew they were talking about, and I didn't say anything. I missed my opportunity. For what? For the fear of what?
And
You're you
like,
you're gonna feel like an idiot because you came up to someone you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny to me because, like, I will talk to anybody. I walk into a room, I'm gonna talk to every single buddy I can talk to, and we don't have to have something in common. We're not on the same path. I'm on my own journey, you're on your own journey, and that's that. If we can support each other to get to our destinations, great.
fantastic.
That is a fantastic feeling. But if we can't, it's okay. It is all right. But at the
Good
end of the
luck.
end of the day, you have to take those opportunities and you have to look at that lens, right? You have to look through that lens and say, that's an opportunity. I'm going to take it. And whatever self-doubt I have for myself, I'm going to put that away, right? I'm going to throw it behind me and I'm just going to do it.
One thing I realize is successful people are not gatekeepers.
No,
That's a funny thing. Successful people are not even gatekeepers. So why don't you try? And there's this quote I think is associated with Nelson Mandela. He said, "If we try, we may fail, but if we don't, we have failed."
and makes perfect sense. Like you really have to think about those words that he says and look at it through a different lens, right? And like you said, successful people do not gatekeep. They're going to tell you they're going to be so excited that you came to them asking questions, and they're going to be wanting to share that information with you because there's someone else that has the same interest. There's someone else that wants to learn, that's hungry, that took the courage to ask, right? The people that gatekeep,
It's a
you
fixed
don't want to
mindset.
ask them anything. You don't want to ask them
It's a
anything.
fixed mindset, and
Right,
that's why they don't grow.
right.
That is why they don't grow,
No,
because like when
true.
you're gatekeeping, you're limited with the resources that you have at your disposal. But I thought about something. I have been able to grow 5 different podcasts into the global rankings. Just helping other podcasters grow taught me things that I leveraged into my own ecosystem for my own personal growth. I'm like, wow. So if I wasn't helping these people, I wouldn't be growing this fast. So right gatekeep. But like I want to ask that question that is burning in my heart. Show me the money. Where
And
do you think?
sometimes it's not even about that, right? Sometimes it's what people forget is that money isn't everything.
Hmm. Yeah.
When you
But you
talk
have to make it to earn the rights to say it.
I get that. I get that. I understand it. And I could sit here and say money isn't everything, but to someone else it is, right? But people fail to appreciate the things that they currently have
Mm,
because of the journey that they're looking forward to. They're always looking at the future, at the future, at the future, and regretting what they didn't do in the past, but they're not in the present, right? And you need to be in the present. And family, friends, we had a little bit of conversation before we started, like, hey, the people that actually supported you for the whole time you've been doing this podcast, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the success, right? To me, that's worth more than money because you can go and make more money, but you can't make more individuals like that are supporting you like that. Those people are harder to find than making money.
if there's any word harder than hard, it has to be like very, very hard to find.
It's hard, man. It's hard because a lot of people, they say they want you to succeed, but when you succeed, then jealousy and envy come into play.
Yes, yes. It's crazy, it's
Right?
crazy.
And it's crazy to think that way, and it's crazy to think and, that's why I love School of Mentors, because everybody that's there is understanding that everyone's at a different level.
Yes.
Everyone is looking for the same kinda common goal, or, they're looking for that encouragement that's gonna help them out of a hole. They're looking for a mentor, they're looking for opportunities, so when you have a place like that, that's great, man. That's great.
That's a place to be. That's a place to be,
It's just a
brother.
place to be, because everyone has that mindset of, "I wanna see this person grow. What can I do to help them grow?" We're not here to gatekeep. We're here to motivate. We're here to support. We're here to share, our struggles, and let's go. Like we all wanna just crush it, right? And how can we all crush it together? And that's a beautiful thing, man. But, outside of that group, you have to have some form of, circle that does that for you as well. Because if you
Hmm.
don't, it's hard. It's hard doing it alone, you know? And it's tough finding those people, right? So when you have communities like that, I'm 100% for it because it allows you to feel comfortable to express doubt without people taking that doubt and using it against you. They're more
Hmm.
taking that doubt and saying, "Man, why are you doubting yourself? Look what you're doing. You're doing X, Y, and Z. You should do this. Don't doubt yourself. Let's go. Let's all crush it together." Right? It's motivating, but the problem there is people take that motivation, right? Because motivation is temporary.
Hmm.
Motivation is temporary. I can get on here, people can listen to our podcast for 2 hours, and they're pumped and ready to go, right? But that motivation's gonna fade over time, right? What doesn't fade is your consistency and your discipline to your goal. The
A lot of
motivation
people
helps.
suffer from paralysis by analysis. They overconsume information
Yeah.
and to do nothing with it.
Yeah, no,
Like
absolutely, man.
it's crazy. I was gonna ask you about like the process of making your first million. Like what part of it was mental, and of course, what part of it was mechanical.
Well, knowledge is everything. You learn knowledge, like, and working for the company, making them money is just like you putting things into place. And the way I say it is it's always gonna be a struggle. You're always second guessing yourself. You're always comparing yourself to others. That's the biggest thing that we do as a human race, you know? We see someone that is way above where we wanna be. Just like through your podcast, right? There's probably someone day 1 of a podcast, and they're like, "Man, AI got 15, 30,000 followers. He's crushing it. He's doing interviews with X, Y, and Z. He's crushing it. I'm here on day 1." You're comparing yourself to someone that's ahead 2.5 years. It's not fair.
Just mounting pressure on yourself,
Yeah, it's
unnecessary
not.
pressure.
It's not fair. So realizing that, like, you don't have to put that pressure on yourself.
Run your own race. Run your
Like,
own.
you're running your own race here. Like, take your time and consume as much knowledge as you can. Get on groups that are actually going to be beneficial, and you see some fruit from the groups that you're joining, and you're getting bits and pieces of knowledge from every place, and then you're taking those bits and pieces of knowledge, and then you're doing your own research and learning more, right? And taking those small steps, right? Because it's all about the small steps. But, you know, and you're gonna get there and you're gonna just be like, turn around and be
Oh.
like, "Holy smokes, look how far
How,
I've come, man."
how did
Right?
I get here?
Like, a year ago, where was I? Like, you know? And it's because you're focusing on smaller steps, man. And I
Mm.
can't say that enough, and I'm gonna keep on saying that throughout this whole podcast, is those smaller steps really, like, help you out. And it's just focus. Focus on the one thing you wanna do. If you wanna be a podcaster, how what microphones should I use? How should I put my background? What color should I use? What color scheme will attract more people? What wording can attract more people? What who can I bring on that's gonna attract more people? You know,
Bring Majeed
what
on.
what intelligent conversations can we have that will attract more people to listen, right? Like, those are the things that you should be focused on, right? But what happens is people don't see the fruition of the work they're putting in right away, that they automatically stop what they're doing, or they're like, this isn't working. They start putting all that self-doubt. And you know what? Your tongue is the most powerful thing you have. And if you say, this is not working, guess what? It's not gonna work because you're
Yeah.
saying it, you're believing it. It's not gonna work. But instead of saying, "Hey, this is not gonna work," be like, "Hey, what can I do better? Hey, let me reach out to this person that's been doing it for years and see how they're doing. Maybe we can have something where we do a podcast, where we have 2 podcasts, 2 different names, but we're the ones having the conversations with each other."
I've done that recently. We had a cross collaboration. The very first finance show in the UK, Group CFO, and the guy reached out to me, Kevin Appleby. He's a top voice on LinkedIn, and I was surprised. I'm like, oh, interested, right? Like I started Diary of a CFO about June this year. We're in October. And I think this guy reached out to me around September, and I was like, oh, wow, let's have a cross collaboration. And I was like, wow. So I have come this far in a very short period of time. And this guy's been into the podcast game since 2020.
And that's
And
awesome. You know what I
bro,
mean?
crushed it. He was
Crushed
on
it,
my podcast. I was on his podcast, and we crushed it.
and
I'm
you
like,
crushed it.
okay,
And you know
right.
what? He didn't gatekeep. He didn't say, "Hey, this
Yeah.
podcaster, I don't want him part of my stuff," 'cause, no, he brought you up to another level, right? And that's what we should be doing, if we know something, yes, I get it. We spent the time, we spent the effort,
Mhm.
learning it. I completely understand that. And there's been a lot of times where, I have tried to take on mentees and teach them and like navigate them. But you have to be very selective because some people say they want to do something until they start doing it. and then they don't want to do it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. I've had mentees like that. Now when people tell me, "Oh, I want to take this career path," I'm like, "Are you sure you really want to do it?
Right,
Okay, go take an internship in this thing
right,
and
and it's
come back and tell me
you
whether
know
you really want to do it."
you kind of have to weed through them, right? Because there
Mhm,
are individuals that want to do it, and they'll do whatever they have to do to
mhm,
do it, right? So I always put like people that come to me and they're like, "Hey, can you mentor me?" Right? I'll say, "Yeah, I'll mentor you, but this is what I want from you." Like we'll have a conversation, we'll talk, I'll motivate them and then I'll say, you know, "I want you to give me 3 things by the next time we talk that are either habits you've changed or implemented, right? Something you've done to empower yourself, whatever it may be, right? And then read a chapter of a book. Not even a full book. Read a chapter of a book, right? And typically what happens is they come back on the call, and if I get someone that's locked in, they're like, "Hey, I didn't only read a chapter, I read a whole freaking book." Right? Like those are the people that are in it. The people that aren't are, well, I had X, Y, and Z with the family. I had work. I had to do this. I had to do that. Those are just excuses because you can't tell me within a 7-day period that you didn't have 30 minutes to make time to do certain things to improve on yourself. And these things aren't even to improve me. I can care less, right? Like I'm improving me myself. I'm asking to improve yourself, right? And people will still make excuses on not improving themselves when someone asks. It's crazy.
there's something to say in Nigeria: when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So it's
It's
still a
just
plan.
crazy to me, you know? I going back to your question, I would say, you know, you just have to be disciplined, man. You have to be disciplined. You have to be consistent. You have to be willing to learn everything. It doesn't matter what it
That's the
is.
mindset.
Learn, learn, right? Because whatever you're learning, now, don't get me confused. If you're on a path because you want to do something, do it, right? And you're on a path, I'll give you an example, perfect example, right? You're on a path to be a podcaster. You're going to learn everything about podcasting. But on the side, you should learn everything else because then that opens up the room more for you. It allows you to bring someone to talking about AI software. It allows you to bring someone to talk about finances. It allows you to bring someone talk about real estate. It allows you to bring someone talk about spiritual healing, or hey, I want to do cryptocurrency, or hey, I was in the military, or hey, I was this. Right?
Are
Why?
you describing my first podcast?
Why? Because you took the time to learn about multiple things, being
Hmm.
focused on what you want to do. But people don't take the time to do that. And if you take the time to do that, it's going to open the room up more for you because you're able to have conversations with people about things that you've learned that they're into.
Know everything about something and know something about everything.
Right. It's a
I
rule we
love
all should
that
live
mindset.
by. It's a rule that we all should live by because it's gonna open doors for us that were essentially closed, but now that you know, they're open.
A lot of people are one trick ponies, and I don't like a one trick pony. Like,
No. And
how?
here, I'll give you an example, right? I went on vacation, me and my wife, and it's just a relaxing vacation. Sometimes we gotta recharge, shut off the brain, even though it's super hard. We're on vacation, and I met a couple, and the couple is from Canada, and we're talking. I'm talking to this guy. He does cybersecurity. He's he does cybersecurity. Makes very good money, and we're talking, and most of the conversation things are very similar. Me and him, we're like he's talking about one thing, I'm like, "Yeah, I do that." He's talking about another, "Yeah, I do that." Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was like everything was stacking, stacking, stacking. And he's like, "Yeah, I garden too." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I do that too. I like to grow my own food." It's just something very peaceful about it. Like your brain just kind of focuses on what's going on and you're allowed to process your thoughts a little bit when you're out in nature. And he's like, "Yeah, but I turned it into a business." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah." He has about 4 acres of blueberry trees, and he just grows blueberries. That's it.
Blueberry pies.
And he sells the blueberries to other big corporations. But he turned something, and this is when you know you're an entrepreneur. You literally turn whatever makes you happy into something that drives money, something that makes you money,
Turn your passion into profit.
right? So he I mean, he must grow. I mean, he showed me they have a whole scale, and he showed me, and he's like, "Yeah, we weigh our blueberries, and then that's how much they pay by the by the weight of the blueberry, and I also sell them on the street, you know?" And, I mean, he'll sell 5 pounds of blueberries for, like, $60, not even, but
Wow.
he's, like, crushing it doing what he wants to do, and I'm like, "Man," that got me thinking, like, like, he just turned his whole passion into profit, and it's something he still gets to love to do, and it's just another venture, it's just another avenue, and he said something that I've heard in the past where, you know, most entrepreneurs and most millionaires and billionaires, they have at least at least 7 streams of income. 7.
At
Like,
least.
it c I can't even think of 7, you know?
But they at least started with something.
But they always started with 1. 1 is their mainstream, but he had about so he talked to me about stocks, stock dividends, how if you purchase a stock, the stock essentially pays you monthly, weekly, whatever it may be, for owning the stock. So he's like, "It's better than a bank." He's like, "Some stocks I hold pay me 9 cents to the dollar." So if you do the math, that that's a lot of money. If he put 100 grand, 9 cents to the dollar,
Passive income.
that's passive income he's not doing anything for, right? We talked about crypto. We talked about real estate. He talked about buying, selling cars. He talked about gardening. He talked about, I mean, everything you can think of. He was just like, and he wasn't gatekeeping, right?
Mm.
And he was just like, "Yeah, this is our 4th time here this year." I'm like, "You practically live here, dude."
Rest and recovery. Rest
Like,
and recovery mode.
and he's like,
Activated.
when you start making money sleeping, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely
And,
different ballgame.
all these companies make millions and billions, all these tech companies that I've worked for, millions and billions of dollars. And when you look at their framework, they're making money every second of the day. It doesn't matter, day or night. So why should we reinvent the wheel and say, well, I only want to make money from 9 to 5, right?
People
Why would you
trade
want to
time
do
for
that?
money. They trade their time for money.
Why would you want to do that, right? And I tell you why. People want security, right?
Mm.
When you start your entrepreneurial journey, security is not there, man. And any entrepreneur will tell you, it's
It's not in the
not.
dictionary.
It's just not in the cards for you, man. Like, until you break out,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, which is gonna take time, and it may take longer for others than it does for some, right? But why would I wanna trade my time for money? And a lot of people do it because it's security, right? They don't want to essentially try something where they feel like they may fail. It's just, and fear is a big factor in anything. They're afraid to do it. They're afraid to jump. They're afraid to, and that's why most people that become successful, to be honest, had no choice to be successful, right? Because they didn't have an option of being afraid. There was no option. They were either gonna do it or they were not gonna do it. Like,
Get rich or die trying.
yeah, you know?
We've actually would I say, dwelt a lot on the mindset. Like, let's talk a bit about the skill sets, right? Because the framework is mindset, skill set, and tool set, right? And there's something you mentioned earlier that I really appreciate. That's the leadership skills. While I was at PwC, they have this framework for evaluating professionals. They say whole leadership, business acumen, technical competence, global acumen, and building relationships. And I used to tell my colleagues, these guys have given you the cheat code to be successful, right? At the top is that whole leadership skill. And, for you, like working with leading global tech companies, right? And of course, you've actually led teams and managed complex programs, complex projects. Like, what's that number one skill that translates across all levels of success?
And I think you hit on it, right? It's team. Like, you can't conquer everything by yourself as much as you want to.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It's a team, man. And, for instance, there's some skills that I'm not good at that one of my team members may be better at, right?
Mm.
So even though I need to improve, I know he's better at it. So why am I not leveraging what he's better at
Mm.
versus me? And we're all trying to accomplish the same goal, right? But if I have a team and building your team is probably the most important thing you can do is, build a team around things that I know I'm my strong suits, right? So wherever I'm weak at, I'm gonna make sure I have a team member that's strong in that area, right? Whatever they're weak at, we're gonna have another team member that's stronger in that area, right? And then when we have meetings and a situation comes up, someone on the team is gonna know how to fix that, right? So it's developing your team, making sure that you support your team 1000% because when you have a team and they feel unsupported, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. It's not a good thing, right? Make them feel supported, make them feel appreciated, you know, for being there, working hard. They're going to want to work harder for you if you do those things. I think the problem in leadership today, and the military definitely helped me with that leadership skill 1000% because I needed my team, and I think in today's society, they fail at seeing how important having a team is and how important some of the team members may be. And they overlook all of that because they think they can do it themselves, right? When if you have a team and you have a good team, things that would have taken you 3 years to do by yourself may only take you 1.
So, like, how should entrepreneurs, founders select their team? What are the things they should look out for?
Well, mindset, again, 1, skill in whatever industry they're in, right? They don't need to know everything, but if they have the willingness to learn, that's someone you want on your team. Because even though they don't know everything, I have the confidence that they're going to know everything, right? And then also the willing to share, right? Just because you learn this information or you know this information, you're not going to say, I'm not going to tell anyone because I want to be more, relevant in the team. So I'm going to keep this information to myself because I want to be relevant and I don't want anyone to succeed over me, right? Instead of being like, hey, I learned this X, Y, and Z. I'm going to tell everyone on the team. So now that you guys know it, so now we all know it.
So, like, speaking of the teams, right? Like, what would I say skill or discipline from your military days still gives you a competitive edge today with your teams?
Like me versus my team?
Not you versus your team, because teamwork makes the dream work, but like,
Right.
what are those skills you learned from the military that help you to add value to the team?
Well, one is telling them that, failure is okay and just being a leader, being someone that they can look up to and say, hey, I have this issue. He may not know the answer, but I know he's going to guide me in the right direction. He supports me, he guides me, he nurtures me, he wants me to grow. He's an individual that I see that I could look up to. And even if I know more than him, he's going to guide me in a direction for my success, right? Like
Mhm.
I've had team members where I'm like, I want you, and I think the biggest skill is honesty, right? Is being honest when you don't like something, when you like something, is just being truthful and honest.
In Nigeria, they say honesty is the best policy.
And it truly is, and with my team, I'm very honest. If I don't like something, I'm going to let you know I don't like it, but I'm not coming hostile at you, right? Like, hey, I don't like it and this is why, right? And then this is another thing that you kind of have to take into consideration, right? There's perception and there's perspective, right? Now, if I say, hey, I don't like the way this is going right now, right? Your perception is that it's all bad, right? But instead, you should flip your mindset to look at what am I thinking? Be in my shoes, you know? Maybe, I don't, and this is not the case, but maybe I don't like the line of questioning. Maybe he doesn't like the line of questioning. Maybe I can work on line of questionings. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that, right? So anytime I have a team member come to me and tell me that they don't like something I'm doing, I don't put up a wall. I'm not defensive. I can't be defensive. I have
Mhm.
to look at the perspective of what is he seeing that I'm not, right? And I think when you build a team all having that skill, it really benefits you more than anybody else. And also having the skill of, again, back to our conversation, having the skill of implementing an idea, the time between idea and execution, if you can shorten that time period, you're going to be very successful. And then even on a team, if I have an idea and I say, hey, I didn't like the way he did that, right? But I don't say anything. I don't execute by saying anything, and he does it again, whose fault is that? It's mine.
I'm gonna put you on the spot right now, because like you were touching on something that I have experienced personally, right? I don't have a problem with people not liking what I do, right? Not liking how I execute things, right? I once had a team member who was very, very critical. They like to complain about everything and anything. But the problem I had was you complain, but you don't bring solutions. So
That's another thing.
how do you address such team members? At some point, I had to let them go, because it's not even good for your mental health, right? When you have somebody who is always negative, right? But they never bring solutions to the table.
Yep.
How do
Yep.
you deal with such a situation?
So I mean, if you manage a team, hands down, you've had this situation without a shadow of a doubt, right? And
Mhm.
and to be honest, when I got out of the military, I kind of had to develop that as well, because it was, hey, we're going to do this. Let's do this. Because the military is very structured, right? Like this. But, I've had team members come up to me and say, hey, I don't like this problem. Okay. Well, do you have a minute? Yeah, I got a minute. All right, let's sit down. All right. What don't you like? Oh, I don't like X, Y, and Z. I don't like how long it takes to do this. I don't like how long it takes to do that. And I'm like, okay, you really have looked at the problems that you don't like.
Mhm.
How can we fix those problems? Right?
Then they go silent.
Instead of saying, you don't like that? Too bad. That's the way it is, right? Because that doesn't help innovation.
Mhm.
Essentially just, calm, collective. Hey, you're putting they're coming like what I just did, right? Was they came to me with a problem, but I put the ball back in their court, right? Like, hey, I understand you don't like this. And yeah, after hearing you explain it on why you don't like it, I understand. But what can we do? What can we do to solve that? Right? And I'm not telling them, like, come up with a solution for me and then come back, right? I'm in that moment making their mind, programming their mind to say, he wants how I can fix it, right? And they may have 3 ideas of how to fix it, but no one's ever asked them, right? No one's ever given that opportunity. No one's ever given them the platform to share it, right? And they've been too afraid to share it. Because why? Because people ridicule your ideas and they've been drilled down that their ideas are crap and then they don't want to share their ideas anymore versus saying, well, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about it that way, but I'm glad you brought it to my attention. But what can we do? What can we do to fix that? Right? People are more willing to work together when they feel like you're working together, but when you're pushing on each other, they're more resilient to do anything.
Yeah, and that's why I like to tell my teams, right? Don't be problem minded, be solution oriented, right? Don't come to me with problems. Come to me with how we can fix the problems.
Well, not even, and I would restructure that wording too, right? Because I want them to come with problems. I want them to come with problems
The
because
mindset, right? Like,
right, like
don't
I
personally, I
don't
like to see problems. I only like to see solutions, right? Don't frame it as a problem. Frame it as a development area. Frame it as like, don't just tell me problem. I hate to hear
right, and
problem.
you just caught yourself. You
I
just
hate
caught
it.
yourself.
Don't tell me problem. Tell me this is something we need to fix. This is something we need to
Just
develop. Or this,
hey,
like,
don't
I just hate the word problem.
right.
Like
Don't
that. That's
even
just me. Like
Don't
personally.
even say, like, "Don't come with problems," because what is that doing? That's being hostile, right?
Hmm.
Versus saying, like, "Hey, if there's a problem, I wanna know about it. If there's something going on that doesn't work,
Hmm.
let's work together and
Hmm.
figure it out." And then what's gonna happen naturally is instead of them coming with a problem or a situation, unless you extremely need to know about it, what's going to happen is you're going to come into a morning meeting with them, right? And essentially they're going to be like, hey, yeah, we had this issue, but I put in this solve for it. So it's already taken care of. I'm just letting you guys know this is what happened. This is the solve we put in it. If you have any questions, any concerns, let me know. But this is what happens, right? And it motivates them to be more self-disciplined in
Hmm.
doing it and
Hmm.
not being fearful that whatever they're doing is going to be ridiculed or
Hmm.
torn down, right? That they're doing it and they did it, and if it's a problem, it's just something else we can fix. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Exactly.
day, right? Like, at the end of the day, you had an issue, you put something to fix the issue, it caused another issue, but guess what? We can put something else to fix that issue.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, it's not a problem, and I think when you start giving your team a little bit more independence in that area, that is the biggest skill you
It will
can
shock you the creativity that they have. Like
right,
I've had team members
and
come
that's
to me
what
and
you
like, oh,
want,
I
and that's
brought
what
up
you
this
want.
thing, and I'm like, wow, like what did you think about this thing? I'm like, oh, wow, cool, cool, cool.
And that's what you
You
want,
do
man,
well.
and that's what you want, that's what you want, and, but I think what happens is they come and they're already frustrated, a lot of people, if you run managing a team and they're coming to you, they're already coming frustrated. If the conversation starts with, "I have a problem," You know,
Yeah.
you can't look at it and say, they're just coming with a problem. They really didn't think about a solution because they could have thought about a solution. But you, as their leader,
Mhm,
right? They're probably looking to you to say,
mhm,
hey, I had all these solutions, none of them worked. Let me go to my leader and see and say, hey, I have a problem and I need some help. Right.
mm,
But we automatically think that when people come with us with a problem, that they're being lazy because they didn't come up with a solution or anything like that. And as a leader, that is the worst trait you can possibly have, right?
yes,
As a
yes.
leader, you need to be open and just say, hey, and again, it's using perception versus perspective, right?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm,
hey, he could have done 5 things and they didn't work, and he's at the end of his rope, and he's frustrated, and he's coming to me frustrated, right? And saying, "I have a problem," right? And all I'm hearing is, "I have a problem with an attitude," and, "Okay, well, go figure out a solution. Go give me 3 solutions." Well, he already thought about 5 that didn't work. What makes you think he's gonna think about 3 more? If he's coming to
mhm,
you, he
mhm,
wants your assistance, right? And then it's de-escalating de-escalating just the environment in general, right? He's
mhm.
frustrated. He tried to do 5 solutions. Alright, well, what's the problem? Alright, cool. Uh did you have you done anything? Like, have you tried anything? I'm just asking because, like, I wanna make sure I think around those solutions as well that you put in, because one of the solutions you put in may have worked if you just tweaked it, if you just turned it, right? So, like, I wanna know what solutions you're thinking of, right? Like, I wanna know where your mindset is so that way our mindsets could work together and come up with the solutions that's gonna be, what we're looking for. And a lot of leaders don't do that. A lot of
Mhm,
leaders are they're either dealing with stuff that your team doesn't see, and they're dealing with that, and then your team comes with you with something else. So now, a lot of leaders can't multitask and understand how one situation doesn't dictate the other, and how this is my team member. This is someone that I want to grow. This is someone that helps me when I'm not looking and I'm trying to handle bigger things. They're the ones that are supporting me.
mm.
So whatever you're doing, you need to support them, right? And that's that.
It's quite interesting, like these conversation, and you made me remember a situation with a team member, right? I'll touch on it a little bit now. So we've actually discussed the mindset, the skill set, and I think it's a great way to segue into the tool set, right? This person highly skilled, right? But they were struggling with the tool set. Remember, before we started this conversation, we were talking about CRMs, right? Like sometimes some tools will make you look stupid, and get to gain mastery of certain tools by using it over and over and over again. And of course, the shortcuts, the tweaks. When you talked about tweak, right? It just rang an alarm bell in my head, and this team member was getting frustrated and had I don't like to use the word problem, right? For the lack of a better word, let's call it a problem. And they reached out to me and like, oh, this thing is not working. Why did you use this AI tool and your AI? I'm like, okay, let me see, let me take a look. Did you double click that button at the bottom? And then they double clicked it and no, boom, worked. I'm like, you're AI for a reason.
I would say this, I wouldn't call it problem, I call it opportunity, right? Because it's an opportunity for you to fix something or develop someone that essentially is not getting what they need. Right? So, like I said, opportunities everywhere. And, people come and say, I have a problem. Well, one of the things that I like to tell my team is, like, instead of saying you have a problem, say, I have an opportunity, right?
I love, I love that. I love that.
Like, instead of saying I have a problem, I have an opportunity, because
Mhm.
it's an opportunity either to grow, to learn something, right? To fix something. It's an opportunity. That's what it is. It's not a problem, right? It's not going to be this biggest issue where, we're going to lose lives or something like that, right? Like I have an opportunity, especially if you're working at a tech company. Like, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there are going to be problems, but we don't need to call them problems. It's not that
Mhm.
big. Like, it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to communicate. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity. I mean, it's just so much. There's so much within that you can take, you know? And when it comes to tools, I was one that was terrible at using tools.
Let's talk about the tool sets, right? Like, what are those
Terrible, man.
tools like
Like, I
that help
was
you stay organized?
I was terrible using tools. Until this day, I struggle sometimes as well. Like, I mean, it's been probably like 2 years now that I started using like CRMs and things like that, just because I was like, I don't know. And then I finally got someone on the team to show me and like, this is how you do this, this is how you do that. And then I got more comfortable with it. And then I also had like, I could call him, hey, this is going on. What's this? Can I fix this? How do I do this? Right. Yeah, I'll walk you through it. Right. And it's all a learning curve. Right. But
Mhm.
we can't be discouraged because we don't know how to utilize a certain tool. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
People get frustrated
but
very, very easily.
and they do. They get
Very
That's
easily.
because they wanna hop onto it and automatically know how to do it,
Mhm.
and that's not gonna happen. You have to
Yeah,
be taught.
it
You
takes some time
it
to
takes
figure some
time,
tools.
right? And you're gonna run
But I
into
think like different
problems.
people have like different paces, right? So a person like me, I don't know why. Maybe because my parents named me AI. Like, give me any tool. It doesn't take me long to figure it out.
No, and it you
And
but
then I
you
wonder, am I a finance guy or am I a tech guy?
you're in the field of, you know you're in that field. So using software, using different types of tech, to you, it's familiar, right? It's something familiar, right? But imagine if I said, AI, go into my garden and start planting or feeding the plants or putting the right pH level in the water and doing this and doing that and doing this. You're gonna be like, what the hell?
Chat GPT to the rescue.
Right. You're gonna be like, I don't know, right? But that's okay if I'm standing next to you. Hey, this is how you do this. Hey, this
Mhm.
is how you do this. Hey, this is right. It's less frustrating than just me saying, go do it, right? I'm walking you through it. And I'm also going to keep in mind that this is something that is unfamiliar to you. So you're going to have questions. You're going to mess up, right? And the ability and the skill and the mindset of knowing that ahead of time, right, is going to save you so many problems
Mm,
because I'm no longer in my mind. I'm not going to get frustrated when you mess up because I'm already accounting for it because
mm,
it's something that you don't utilize. Some of this, like, so I'll give you an example. We rolled out an automation system for internal users only. And this automation system that we rolled out was essentially, hey, you can go and purchase whatever office supplies AI needs, computer monitor, keyboard, pens, paper, post-it notes, whatever. Doesn't matter. If your team needed a desk, it didn't matter, right? They can go in instead of asking someone, right, or going to procurement and having them purchase it. We set up a whole automated website where they can just click and shop like you're shopping at
mhm,
Staples,
mhm.
right? And they put everything in the cart and they boom and they purchase it, and then it goes to their manager for approval. If their manager approves, then it gets sent to their office, right? Well, with anything new, people don't like new. People are stuck
Yeah.
in their they're stuck in their consistency of, "Hey, this is how it is. I'm familiar with this. I
You
don't
can't
like
teach an
the
old dog new tricks.
I don't like the unfamiliar," right? Even though the unfamiliar can save them so much time, they've just been so programmed to do it one way, right? And so we roll this out, and the amount of people I had reach out to me to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know this. I don't know that. And I don't know this. And when I tell you it was as simple as you were going to go on to any website and purchase something for your home, right? Something that everyone does, but the amount of people that were so stuck in their ways because they didn't want to innovate and they just wanted to stay in that box, right? And
It's crazy.
I could have said to all of them and said, "This is so simple, like, what are you missing?" Right? But if I did that, it wouldn't have allowed me to figure out what problems we actually had with the system, right? Just taking their word and just kind of moving it over because I feel like it's so simple, but I'm not
Mhm,
listening to their perspective on things, and I'm not looking at that from their lens, right? And there were issues with it. There were bugs with it, but I would have never found those if would have taken that approach. So
mhm,
you gotta go in and have the skill and the mindset to take the approach of people have valuable information, even though they may not think it's valuable, or even though it may be coming across as a problem or them complaining. Like, you have to look at it as an opportunity to
mhm.
fix whatever is causing that.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
That's it, man, and then when you do, having the right knowledge about whatever program you're using is going to help you even more because you like our team created the program. So, as you know, when you create something, you automatically think it's great. You created it.
There's something we say in accounting, we call it self-review threat. You know,
Hey, you
you
think
can't be
it's
reviewing what you prepared. Doesn't
Hey,
make sense.
you've spent months on this. You've looked at every angle. There's not a flaw in here. It's great. Like, you love it. And then you roll it out, and then you have other people use it with a different mindset, and then you realize there's actually issues. But
Mhm,
how do I interpret those issues versus, you know, and how do I implement change without butting heads with everyone?
mhm.
Right? If I say there's no problem because I think it's great, then it's just going to be bashing
Really.
heads. But if I say, hey, you know what? I'm not seeing this, but I would love the opportunity if anyone runs into this issue, like, can you navigate it and show me so that way I and the team can figure out what we can implement to make
Mm,
it more streamlined for you, right? Because when you think about innovation, it's to make things easy. It's not to make it hard, right?
mhm,
And I think when you have that conversation with people like, hey, we're implementing this change and we're implementing this new program, and I know there's going to be a learning curve, and I know there's going to be mistakes, and I know there's going to be issues and opportunities for us to make adjustments, and I open the door to all that feedback, right? Because
interesting.
a lot of time people don't want it. They don't want that feedback, so they close.
Yeah,
They're
but
shut off.
feedback is actually very important, to create that loop for growth, and that's something I've experienced personally. Like, you get feedback from your customers, your clients, you
Everybody.
implement it, and of course, you just keep growing. But for like entrepreneurs, founders just starting out, like what are the programs, what are the tools you think like every business should have? It is non-negotiable in order for
I
them
think
to be
if you're
able
getting a lot of if
to
you're
grow.
getting, like, a lot of incoming calls, or if you're trying to make a lot of outbound calls, like, having, some programs that keep you organized. Like, organization, some people are great at it, some people are not. I am in the middle, I know I have to be, but sometimes I'm not. But having a system in place that allows me to be organized and doesn't allow me not to be organized, and that, it just depends on whatever field you're in, because there's different tools for everything that we're doing. Someone that is doing real estate, they're going to use CRMs. They're going to use, things that help them produce more in real estate, right? But someone else that's not in real estate may not use a CRM, or they don't even know what a CRM is, right? Like, and you laugh, but there's people out there that are trying to get their business started, and they don't know tools that are out there that can help and improve. Right? They haven't done research of even typing into Google, "Hey, give me 3 tools that can help me in podcasting," or "Give me 3 tools or softwares that I can use doing coding," or, "What can I utilize to help me improve in coding?" Things like that, right? Like, but people don't think about those things until they absolutely need them, until it's like they're not like, "Hey, my," they're like, my business is not that big yet, so I don't need a CRM. I don't need to know about a CRM," right? And then their business is taking small steps. Now they look back and their business is bigger than what they can handle,
Yeah,
and then they're
it's
like,
quite disorganized.
no, I'm in a position where now I have to hurry up and put those
Mhm.
systems in place and learn about those systems. And now I'm in a position where I'm going to have a learning curve, and it's going to slow me down, and it's going to slow my progression down, right? Versus saying, hey, this is where I want to be. What tools am I going to need when I'm there? Let me implement those tools now and learn those tools now, so that way when I get to where I would definitely be using them on a day-to-day basis, there's no hiccup. It's still gonna be an incline, right?
I think for me, my favorite productivity tool is still the calendar. I use Calendly.
Oh, yeah, I
Like
use that
it,
too.
it,
Yep.
it just
It
helps.
helps you manage your time. I put it in there. I put our, this podcast, our meeting, and it's in there. I don't have to think. Like,
Mhm.
a lot of times people don't use stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, I have a meeting Thursday at 2 o'clock. Oh, I have another meeting at 2 o'clock on Friday. Oh, I have this at 1 o'clock. Oh, I have this." You're gonna forget something, and something's gonna slip through the cracks. So having utilizing your calendar, right? That's the best thing ever. That's gonna keep you on track. You're
Yeah,
gonna
I feel like
know
that's like the best productivity
that's
tool made by man.
1,000%. 1,000%. That's probably one of my favorite things is the calendar, and I just recently started using stuff like that. Recently, because
I like the confession.
hey, listen, I told you from the get-go, like, I will tell you, I'm not perfect, and I was one of those that had the mentality of, "I can remember this, I can remember this, I can do this, I can do this." And yes, sometimes it keeps you very sharp, but you forget things.
I can do all things through Christ who
Right, you
strengthens me.
can't. So, like, having those tools that help you out and say, "Hey, Wednesday," and, I use it for my family too, like, because there are events
Yeah,
and there are things,
I do that as well. But like
like,
family, sometimes people get upset. Like, why are you scheduling me into your calendar? I'm like, it's
but
because
it's
you're important.
it's not about you scheduling time for them, it's for you scheduling time for your business, right? Because if you have to do something with your family, from 1 to 2 o'clock, I
Mhm.
know from 1 to 2 o'clock, I'm not booking anything because that's
Yeah, but you need to
my
block it.
time. I'm gonna
You
be
need to
busy.
block it.
Like,
You
it's
you need to
that's
block it. If not, I can just go put time into that.
like, like, and, most of the people that are telling you, like, "Why are you putting things in calendars?" Well, I don't have a 9 to 5. I
Mm,
work 24/7 days a week.
that that's the thing. So like if you're working
So
24/7, you need to be able to
so
account for it.
as you go to work from 9 to 5 and you get off at 5 o'clock, and after 5 o'clock, you're free. But anytime between 9 to 5, you're working. So essentially, you have your own calendar. It's just different because you're not writing it down. You're going into work every day.
At work. Wow, man, we need to schedule a part two, right? I'm gonna take you through the quick fire round right
Let's do
now.
it. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Whoa. So, what is one quote that defines your success philosophy?
One quote that defines my success, man, I have a ton. Here, hold on. I'm gonna grab my phone because I read these every day. Okay, I'm gonna actually give you a few. I'm gonna give you a few. Okay, the first one I have on my phone is every problem is a gift. Without problems, we would not grow. Right. Going back to every problem's an opportunity. Right. Things either destroy you or they drive you. You have the choice on what you want it to do. Right. And
That one is
then
deep.
this one I really like. It says, "Before you win," and this is you're gonna like this one. I know you are. It says, "Before you win, everyone will ask, 'Why are you working so hard?' But after you win, they will remind you how lucky you got."
Oh, because it hits deep. It hits deep. People ask me, why you working in the night? Blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Yep.
And, they come and say, wow, you're so lucky. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
That-
lucky. I tell them I'm not lucky, I'm blessed.
yeah. I say the same thing, man. But
I am not
I
lucky,
knew you
I
would
am
like that
blessed.
one.
Yeah, absolutely. The real recognize the real. Whoa, next one. What's that book that changed your mindset on money or leadership?
Oh, I actually have it here. And this is not this book has been through it, like you can see. It's been through it because I've read it so many times. But
Brother,
this one
I have this documented on this okay, on the Kingdoms podcast. That is the first book my father ever gifted me. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That
really
is the first book my father ever gifted me, and I think that book changed my life. Whoa.
that book absolutely changed it changed my way of thinking. And we'll have to, well, maybe in part 2 we can talk more about that book and
We need to talk about it.
what
I
it
need to find a clip where I have said this maybe multiple times. Definitely, I have said it, and I'll send it to you. I owe you that one. Whoa,
dude,
the
that
real,
book
the real
made
always
me
recognize the real.
that made my wheels spin in so many directions.
Whoa.
It was insane. But that's a
Now
great.
I see the foundation of the connection.
Yeah, no, that's a great book. And then, another book, I mean, how to influence people.
Joe
Um,
Carnegie.
that's another one, man.
That was the first book I ever bought with my own money. Two books: How to Win Friends and Influence People and The Art of Public Speaking by
Yep.
Dale Carnegie.
That's a
Brother,
great that's a
brother, stop. It feels like you're trolling me right now. It feels
no,
like
that's
you
a
are
great
trolling
book.
me right now.
And then,
Why are you quoting my books?
another book that I read too that was kind of, it kind of messes with you a little bit, but the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah,
Um,
my father gifted me that one as well. Robert
it's good.
Greene. Robert
It's
Greene, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good book, but
Yeah. A
it
good book,
it's
but
it's
like
it
if you're not
messes with you a
careful,
little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it could.
yeah,
So you need to be objective, and you need a level of maturity to be able to absorb the information that is
yep,
in that book. And of course, you don't like take it hook, line, and sinker. You
Yeah.
take what you need to use, and of course, you
Right.
and
Yep.
give them back what you don't need
Yeah,
from it.
give them back. Exactly. You couldn't have said it better. Give them back what you don't need, for sure.
Whoa. Okay. Next question: coffee, capital, or consistency? What fills your mornings?
Well, funny thing, I don't drink caffeine, so I do not consume any type of
Cheers.
caffeine.
I
Consistency, I
think
would
it's
say.
consistency then.
Yeah, consistency for sure. Being a consistent human being and working at it, right? Like you don't always have to be consistent, but as long as you continue working at it, that's all you can do.
Absolutely. And of course, what's one skill you would tell every aspiring millionaire to master?
Ooh, the ability to have a conversation and
Mm.
the ability to have a conversation without getting upset because your opinions are different.
I always tell people, your opinion doesn't count for jack. Your opinion, the best part of your opinion is that your opinion does not count.
Yeah. The ability to have a conversation, right? Going back to what we talked about
Yeah.
and just being able to have a conversation with anybody and anywhere about anything.
You're not your opinion because your opinion can change tomorrow. How about that?
Yep.
So why
Yep.
why kill yourself defending, opinions? Like I pray people get it. Complete this sentence. Wealth without dash is meaningless.
Family.
Wow, I love that. I love that.
And
Family.
I say that meaning your family can be anybody. Your family is not always
Yeah.
blood, right?
Yeah. The Bible says there's a friend that's sticketh closer than a brother.
Right. Family can be
Yeah.
anybody, but family for sure. Without wealth, I mean, family is 100%.
So, Majid, your story captures exactly what this show stands for: the mindset, skill set, and tool set that turns purpose into prosperity. From the Marines to the global tech leadership, you've shown that structure and service can evolve into strategy and success. Thank you for being the first guest on the $1 Million Blueprint podcast. Before we close, where can listeners connect with you and, of course, learn more about your journey and, of course, your work?
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, my journey comes from humble beginnings. I didn't have everything that most people would, but I didn't allow it to stop me to grow. And also, I feel like I've lived different lives, right?
Absolutely.
There's going to be situations where you do things in life and there's going to be roadblocks where you have to start taking different paths and just, you know, really enjoying that journey and understanding that there is a bigger reason why you are where you are, whether it be a lesson that you're being taught, whether it be, whatever it is, there's a higher power that has a plan for you. And if you're not where you want to be right now, there's a reason you're not there, right?
Mhm.
And you could be doing everything else, but maybe that higher power doesn't want you there because there's a specific lesson he wants you to learn first, or
Mhm.
there's something that you need to go through. So I really give words of encouragement. Just keep on going, right? Don't let anybody diminish the gift that you've been given. And if you truly feel like it's meant to be in your heart and in your mind, it will happen.
I love that. So, do people connect with you via School of Mentors or LinkedIn?
Yeah, they can. School of Mentors is a great place to capture me.
Okay, fantastic. I'll put the link in the
Yeah,
description.
School of Mentors is a good place to come and get me. Other than School of Mentors, I am on that school app, and anybody can essentially have that app and kind of find you. They don't really have to navigate the School of Mentors to do it, but School of Mentors is great.
Absolutely fantastic.
But yeah, they can reach out to me, and you know what? Maybe in part two, I'll set up some more communications to me directly. I'll work with AI and
AI, bro.
oh,
Always. AI's got your back. AI is not here to take your job. AI is here to enhance
Here
your
to
life.
support. That's it. Yeah.
That's
You know, you told me that the other day. AI is not here to take your job. You know, the people that are taking your job are the people that know how to work AI. And that makes sense to me.
Brother,
it's one of the tools I gotta learn how to use now, man. I can't be mad at it, you know?
Mindset, skill set, tool set. From me to you, it's a love and of course respect to you. There's something I always say that when a person shares their time with you, they share their life with you, because the SI unit for measuring life is time. So thank you very much, Majeed.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Whoa, to the audience, it's hard to say goodbye, but we have to say goodbye.
We'll be back for part 2. Don't worry.
Soon, coming to you soon.
Access granted.
Digital rich, digital rich, digital. Digital rich, digital rich, digital. We made it rich on the internet. Stop capping. What you mean? We made it rich on the internet. Stop capping. What you mean? We made it rich on the internet. What you mean? We made it rich on the internet.
Whoa, they wanna know how I popped out. I'm schooling all of you, but I dropped out. I leave a legacy, I'm making pops proud. And now I got the keys kicking locked up. You wanna run and set it up? I'ma let you all know that I ain't regular. Peep game, got that pressure, know you not enough. Keep score, cause you know that I'ma run it up, run it up. I'ma run it back, no bitch.